acoustics aren't the best in this room. So I will open the section for public comment. Who would like to go first? Dr. Norton?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen of the board, I learned more things here at meetings like this. I came before this board many, many months ago. I wrote an issue of dew points. We brought matters to this board. We deferred from any further publications of dew points to give the board a chance to look into those issues. The only response I got was, we're disappointed. So tonight, I'd like to give the board some stuff, and I'd like to repeat to the board certain concerns of ours. The biggest concern I have is the doctrine of spin. I told you I once had a student named William O'Reilly. Though I don't agree with all of his concepts, he wrote the book, The Art of the Spin. And I've witnessed the spin for months, as have many of my colleagues. We still have serious problems on this campus that I believe the board has been unaware of, selectively informed with, and those matters are still pending. Those matters have to be looked into. The months that have transpired means that this board will not do anything, in my estimation. Somebody's going to have to look into it. Higher authority has got to look into it. So don't be surprised when that starts to occur, because this community deserves some answers. The morale of this place has been going down. I have here a set of documents. I know I'm going to hear that, well, I don't know what I'm going to hear. But if you don't mind, I'll start at this end, and I'll start at this end so that you can work back and have one. I don't want to waste time. Would you like one? Hot off the press. Ladies and gentlemen, there are 4 documents there, just to give an indication of our concerns. We're very concerned about the dorm situation. We work on a daily basis with kids. The new board member very impressively spoke to us at the first time of her inauguration, if that's the word, about witnessing faculty members in a lounge area or a classroom area in Taconic working with kids that weren't getting through. We do that on a regular basis. I spend an inordinate amount of time with kids from the dorms. I grew up in Bedford-Stuyvesant. I know the city. I've given you 2 documents because I watched a great spin. I watched the Cleary Law. I watched the formal document that the Poughkeepsie Police Department submits that you can compare the Cleary Law with, which is kind of antiseptic to say the least. But I give you the first 2 pages. The actual response calls of the Poughkeepsie Police Department on January 22nd, 2013, and then an update as recent as April 18th on the same categories. If you notice, on the first one, in 2009, we had 113 calls. 2010, 110 calls. 2011, 117. And then we spiked in 2012. That fits the exact same criteria of what happened with the Fairview Fire Company responses. They were averaging 44, give and take a few points, per year. That's a norm for any human institution. And then there's a spike there. They're up to 64, 68. And yet we all watched kind of bad reporting. We took a 3-month set of data from this college and compared it to a 1-year set of data at Marist and Culinary and wherever, and said, we're doing real good. We're not as bad as them. Well, when this year is out, we'll find that out. The third document I gave you is, I hear always that this is a student-centered institution, and I believe that. I signed on for that reason. We advertise with the lowest tuition in the state, and I'm finding that's a spin. Because what we lose in tuition, we make up in other things. And I asked this board to look into the matter that I have been crucified by certain students. And years ago we had a student newspaper, which we don't anymore, that at least was asking the question, we assign textbooks that are costing more than the course, and many of us are using fulfillingly, and the kids are getting annoyed. Books are costing more than the class. I've changed my textbooks twice to try to keep getting the lowest possible price. And lo and behold, what do I read? A balance sheet, perhaps, that really says, in 2010 and 11 versus 2009 and 10, we made an interesting amount of money. $923,109 in 1 year in profit to $866,257,000 in profit. I have the rest of these records that go on to say that we may not be able to sustain these kinds of rate of growth since faculty members are starting to advocate electronic books or Amazon.com or something else. The point is, if we've got the lowest tuition in this state, what do we need to do all this crap for? I've got your audit reports. You're carrying an incredibly healthy fund balance. If this college ever gets in financial difficulties, I'll take a half a pay cut. And I know many of us would. But our kids are digging into their pockets for books that I order at $49 that are supposed to sell at $61, that go off at $78, $98, and wind up at $149. And the last thing I put in here is a plea. The big problem at this college, and I've got 48 years in this game, is you can't have an institution that's not transparent, that people aren't aware of what's going on. You can conceal it all you want, but the more you conceal it, the more people find out. We just completed a case that, frankly, I didn't really want to win. I still believe that administration should come out on top, that we should be led, that you should be the facilitators that watch out for my ability to work in the classroom with kids. I don't want to run a college. I left Wall Street. I don't want to play those games. I want to deal with kids as all of them. But we just won a case because someone unilaterally decided to take 2 sections out of a handbook that for years has been argued is someone's exclusive domain, that guaranteed an employee the right to go to the president of the college or his designee and say, why didn't I get tenure? Or why didn't I get a promotion? Every employee has the right to go to their boss and say, I know you're not happy with me. What do I got to do to improve? That was removed since 2009. And yes, the courts are slow. And when you're billing all these times, I'm going to guesstimate that between the college and due, we probably invested about $15,000 to find out you shouldn't have done it. Not saying that we couldn't talk about it. Not saying that there's probably a rational reason that maybe we should get rid of it. I don't know. Tonight was another illustration. It is really good to hear that the contract is going to move forward, that certain items have been deleted from the verbiage or whatever. This is the first I've heard of it. I have to hear it here. We're due with the union. I know people don't like unions. I wish we could go back to the 19th century, but you can't. There's adversarial or there's collaborative. I did this job 16 years. That'll be a record. There's no collaboration. There's only unilateral decisions that continually to disrupt people's lives. The last matter I want to say to you is a humane matter. We're not General Motors. We're not communist China, which has a little more humanity on certain issues. But I've got people out there, some of which are afraid to speak to you. On January the 1st, 2014, affordable health care goes into operation. Anyone over 30 hours is entitled to insurance by their employer. We're disrupting people's lives, some of which are almost 16, 17 years trying to piece out a little living with part-time here and a part-time there. No benefits. They were good enough to do that all those years because they're cheap, and it's always the bottom line. And now they're scared to death because all over they're being picked off. Nobody's come to us. Oh, they're not really in your union. You have no say in this. Neither do you have a say for the retirees. Interesting. Let's find any way to spin it. I'm begging the board. You may have to cut stuff, but do it humanely and at least talk to these people who gave you so much service. Yes, it's a trend throughout the country. Everybody now is going to go below 29 hours a week. That'll probably lower, Tom, the unemployment rate, because now we'll have to pick up more part-time people. And America will now be able to say, hey, this economy's on a roll. Guys, they gave you years of their lives. These are the invisible people. They don't make waves. They're so vulnerable. And yet with no communication, no discussion, no input, no hint, it's done. So ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for your time. I don't like this adversarial role, but I will go all the way with this. The Dew Points had those questions. They had to be addressed. They're not going to be addressed. They will be addressed. We had an opportunity to dialogue on it. And Tom, I beg your pardon on this, because I like you personally. And you put a lot of time in this place. But the day is over that we're management, we're labor. That cements the adversarial relationship. And labor has tools also. And yet we're going to all lose sight. It's those kids. It's those kids. And we talk a lot about it. And yet we allow all this other crap to happen. Sorry I sound like a downer tonight, but something has to be done soon. I thank you.
Thank you for your time, Dr. Morris. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Ashley Whitman. This is completing my 4th year now as an adjunct at the college, and in addition to that, I'm also the evening supervisor of the Math Center. My history at the college, however, did not start as a faculty member. I myself was a student at Dutchess, and I could not be the biggest fangirl that there ever would be about the college. I loved every aspect of a student. All of my best post-secondary experiences came while I was on this campus right here. I mean it, seriously. The faculty members were so accessible. They went above and beyond. The best instruction that I've ever received. So after I left Dutchess, I went on to New Paltz, finished my degree, and when I got a job here, it was literally one of the best days of my life, still to this moment. I mean, I've had... That wasn't one of the best moments. But it was really an honor to come back here and work, and still to this day, I am just totally, I love the college. But on a daily basis here, I sometimes interact with more than 100 students. This is not an exaggerated or inflated figure. Between the 3 courses that I teach, as well as the Math Center, I see so many bodies a day, and I love it. I wouldn't trade it for the world. As Mr. Norton said, this new 30-hour policy is going to impact me incredibly. I mean, it's just going to be a total detriment to my life. I'm no longer going to be able to make enough money to live. I am now going to have to consider quitting one of my positions. Well, it's like choosing which one of my basic necessities of my life do I want to keep, because the relationship between my 2 positions here, they go together so much. As a tutor in the center, I interact with students all the time. I see in their mind's eye what their problems are, and I get to see how they think. And as an educator, that's not something that you get to see very often, is the one-on-one interaction. Most of the time, the 15 minutes rolls up, they run out of the room, and you never see them again until the next course. But being able to get into the minds of those students has made me such a better instructor. It's unbelievable. On the other hand, working in the Math Center has really impacted my being an adjunct, because I get to set up specific times for my students to come in and see me. I get to meet with my students a lot personally, and I feel as if I catch many students that would have slipped through the cracks otherwise. So the fact that my 2 positions on campus may go over 30 hours, but having to quit one of those, I mean, there's really no choice to me, because I love them equally, but we are all here for the students. Of course, we need money to live. However, if we aren't thinking of the students and we aren't a student-centered organization, I don't understand what the focus would be. So I urge you, the Board of Trustees, to really ask questions as far as cost-benefit versus the detriment of non-cost. How does this affect our students? You may not care about us. We may just be a number on the list. However, we are all here for the students. The more we are here on campus, the more interaction we are going to have with our students. So I urge you to really play a part into looking on the non-cost detriment that this will have. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else want to address this? Yes, sir.
I think many of you know me. I'm Mark Condon. I work in the biology department. I've been teaching for 17 years in the biology department, and I'm here, as I think everyone in this room is, including you and you, because we love our students and because we want to see them be successful. And I don't want to be redundant necessarily of what the previous two speakers said, but I can't help but try to distill something that hits me out of what they said. There are issues here that need to be fixed. There are things here that are very, very broken. They can be fixed, but in order to fix them, we need your participation, we need the participation of the full board, and the full board needs to clearly understand unfiltered versions of these problems. And Dr. Norton referred to dew points. He referred to some of the meetings that we've attended and have spoken. When we speak and ask questions, we're not asking them rhetorically. We really do want your feedback. And sadly, we really haven't gotten any. I'm specifically, directly asking you right now, we need to have a dialogue. We need to discuss what's wrong because it is impacting our students. That's why we're so passionate about this. These problems that we're referring to either specifically or, in my case, broadly, are directly inhibiting the ability of our students to succeed. Not that our students are not successful. They're great, and they are. They could be that much better if we could fix these problems. And we need your assistance to do it, and in order to get that ball rolling, you need to hear these things raw. This is the not so pretty part of your job. You need to hear it. Please have a dialogue with us.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Jeff Armstrong. I agree with what's been said so far. A little bit of my angle is kind of based on community. I'm a pretty well-respected member of the community. I serve on the board of the Hyde Park Train Station, the Hyde Park Historical Society, the Visitors Alliance, the Democratic Party in Hyde Park for a while, as well as the charitable trust, the Edwin A. Ulrich Charitable Trust, which some of you might know a lot about. Career-wise, I've been here at the college for 18 years as an adjunct, and lately I've been representing everyone as you do adjunct representative. I also teach at Marist College. I'm the associate professor of jazz and guitar. I'm also in charge of the music for campus ministry. As you may not realize, currently adjuncts make up approximately 2/3 of our faculty and professional staff here at Dutchess Community College. Compared to the other local colleges, we receive up to 10% less compensation currently and are existing under this dated plan and contract where there's been no compensation for these extra demands that have been pretty well outlined here on the adjuncts due to increased class sizes, the increased technology and the demands put on teacher to fulfill those, the counseling with students, and you should know that, like especially dealing with special services here, there's a lot more than just talking about the classroom material with these students, all right? And especially with the new dorms. There's so much more emphasis put on that and more pressure put on us to kind of keep these kids going because a lot of them are in crisis situations, and I see that a lot. I make myself available, and it's great to see everybody kind of doing that, and that's for nothing. That's for out of the care for the students. I did have some comments about the negotiations for both the full-time as well as the adjunct contracts. That's sort of been muddied around the waters at least. We'll have to see how that's going to go. But putting off these negotiations is another slap in the faces of the faculty, the staff, as well as ultimately the student body and the residents of Dutchess County. Some resolution must happen quickly. This is coming to a boiling point. On your end, more so than our end, from where I see it, Duke can attest that the college is not in dire financial straits. In my opinion, the DCC faculty is a valuable asset to both the college and the community. I have the utmost respect for many of my colleagues who I have the pleasure of working with. A lot of you know who you are in my years here. The DCC leadership must have a broader view of what's going on and all the problems, be more forthcoming, resolve these contracts and other issues, and put the community back in DCC.
Thank you for your comments. Would anybody else care to speak this evening? Yes, ma'am.
I'm Joanne Halsey. I'm in the math department, and I have a story to tell that is going to be hard for me, so bear with me. Just the other day, I was talking to one of my colleagues, and this is a young colleague who actually was a student here, worked for me, and has been teaching here with her heart and soul for 6, 7, 8 years. And I happened to see her. She looked a little down. I said, "Hey, what's up?" And she says, "I don't like being here anymore." And I looked at her and I said, "What?" And she said, "I'm just really discouraged." And I'm like a mother hen, ask Joe. I'm like, "It's okay, it's the end of the semester, we're going to make it through. Yes, the end of the semester is tough." She said, "No, I don't like being here anymore." And I'm like flabbergasted, because this is one of our dynamic, young faculty members, and she's telling me she doesn't like being here. So I said, "Why not?" She said, "It's not focused on the students anymore. It's not about the students. It's not about the faculty working with the students. It's about everything else except what it's supposed to be about." And I looked at her and I was just like, I'm stunned, partly because it's so true. But I'm also stunned because I'm saying, what can I say to you to make you feel better? Because we need you and we need your energy. And you cannot leave us. Not saying that she was thinking of leaving, just saying that she didn't want to be here. She's looking forward to summer and hopefully we'll get regenerated. But it hit me really hard, because I care so deeply about my colleagues, and I care about our young faculty who are bringing so much energy to this college, and to have them tell me that it's not the place they knew, it's going downhill, and it's just not what it should be. So my message to her and my message to you, we can rebuild. We have to rebuild. We've been saying that for a very long time. It is time to take a good look at what's going on, and it is time to rebuild. And if we don't, our students suffer, because we're not going to attract the people that should be here working with these students, and we're not going to be able to retain them. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm difficult thing with your help. That's why I turn on the other side, because I see only seeing in one direction. I like you to variate directions sometimes. My name is Camilo Rojas. Some of you know me. I am a Fulbright scholar. I am granted the Chancellor's Award as an excellent in teaching. And I am at Dutchess Community College because I came here because it was the center of my feeling for education. I come from a family with this wasn't no educated at all. My parents never went to school. My mother learned how to read and write from her sister, who went to 2nd grade. My father went to 3rd grade. The first book was taken home. I wrote it. I had a master in fine arts. My work has been showing international and national. My students respect me not because I am tough, it's because I don't ask them to do something I will not do. As some of you know, and some of the board know as well, my students spend here 2 or 3 nights a week, all night long working. And most of the time I am all night long working with them. I dedicate it to them because I believe it is the turning point when they understand it is not about reading a book, it's about taking an attitude about life and be able to actually change the world the way they think it should be done. I am strongly concerned on how Dutchess Community College has been turned around. I came to an institution which had a prestige. I came to an institution which I was supported to experiment and do things in a different way than traditionally had been done. And in the last 5 or 7 years, that has been radically changed, where now we are more concerned with numbers rather than the true education of an individual. I feel we are concerned on how many students we graduate rather than how well educated they are. If that is the formula, I will suggest really a good solution for that. We should tell the students when we came the first day, stay home, come back at the end of the semester, and we gave you an A, and we will graduate everybody. And we'll be having a good ratio of graduation. I don't think that is what education is about. Because I am concerned when somebody in the community is hiring one of our students, which is paying taxes for them to come to college, and then they have to train that student because the college decide not to support the faculty, then I am agree with that person in the community. We said, why I'm paying taxes for when I had to then now train the student? The college is responsible to turn individuals who will be creative, innovative, and go and make the community to be vibrant again and bring the economy. And that's what this country was about. This country was about innovation, was about creativity. And we managed in the college in the last 5 or 7 years to kill any creativity. And that's dangerous. That's really dangerous. One of the things we make a student to really perform, it is because the faculty here are dedicated to them. And one thing they remember, every time I hear David talking every time about how alumni talk about the college and how proud they are. And the thing they talk about is a faculty turned me on. Was not the size of the grass, was not how many bricks we had in the campus, not how many buildings we had. It was the faculty who truly dedicate their life to turn those individuals. Some of you went through that. Some of you wake up and realize why we had to take life seriously. Was because people like us, faculty and staff, take life seriously. We come to Dutchess not because it was the best salary. We came to Dutchess because it was a community college, and a community college is what everybody has, a second, a third, a fourth, a fifth opportunity. I was teaching at Pratt Institute, which has more prestige than Dutchess Community College. I choose to come here. At this point, I know for a fact, if I come to Dutchess Community College to be interviewed, I will not be hired. I will not be hired. Why? Because I am radically different, as you can see. And one of the problems we'll be having, it is we want to get students to have understanding their life and how radically they are different, and how they can make a difference in the community. If we had the trend we are doing in the last 5 or 7 years, where we are trying to, hiring people which are team players, then we are going in the wrong direction. We are creating a community college which is mediocre, not innovative. And that is a dangerous thing to the community. You as a board, and my understanding, I am probably getting wrong, I don't know anything about English, but my understanding about the board, it is to superview or kind of figure out what's going on in the college. I may be wrong. Again, I don't know anything about English, but then it is not about to follow one person's direction. It is to actually supervise that what is the college, what is the direction of the college, not the one person. And if we keep that kind of procedures, we will be bringing this college to a point where no faculty which are creative will be coming, no students who will be innovative will come here, and then probably the board of trustees will be a different board, because you won't want to be associated with a mediocre institution, will you? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anybody else that would like to address the board? Dr. Norton?
I like this so much, I just think I'll do it all night. Things happen so quickly that I'm getting slower. So it's just dawning on me about something. President Conklin made a statement that said, I believe, if I'm wrong, correct me, that I was wrong in stuff I sent out. And then he read a statement. Now, the implication I got of this, because I analyze spins differently, was somehow I was wrong in saying that there was a suspension without pay. Somehow I was wrong that there was suspension for incompetence, misconduct. Is that what you're saying I was wrong on? That wasn't there? That's what I have to know. Because that's what was there, and that's what I reported. And I'm sorry we have to even do this in this forum, because I don't want to go too much further. This is negotiations, but I didn't bring it up. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone else? Okay. I would like to thank everybody for attending, and thank you for your time. Thank you for your continued service to Dutchess Community College. And I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Betsy moved it.